You're watching Goeiemôre, good morning. South Africa's first Miss Universe, Margaret Gardiner, was crowned in 1978 and has spent over 50 years in the spotlight, from being discovered at 16 and flown to Paris to model, to gracing magazine covers around the world. Today, she joins us in her capacity as entertainment journalist, bringing us all the latest news and behind-the-scenes highlights from the Toronto Film Festival. Margaret Gardiner, what an absolute honor to have you on Goeiemôre. Good morning.
Baie dankie, dit is ongelooflik om hier te wees. Ek moet sê, your artist's work was very impressive that I saw there.
That coming from you, Margaret, now it's going to push the price up sky high when we auction it off. Margaret Gardiner says it was pretty.
I wanted to bid on it.
Margaret, I'd like to chat to you a bit about some of your highlights from the Toronto Film Festival. And you arrived at 3 a.m. and then went straight to a screening of Sentimental Value, which stars Elle Fanning and Stellan Skarsgård.
Yes, well, actually, I was fortunate that would have been 3 a.m. South African time. So I was able to get there in the late afternoon and go straight into screenings. But it was really an incredible week. We got to see some of the movies that are going to be contenders at the Oscars, which is 6 months away, and already they're talking about it. Chloe Zhao, who won the Oscar a couple of years ago, has a new movie out called Hamlet, which is a bit like how Hamlet, the Shakespeare movie, was made. And there were lots of really interesting stories. Angelina Jolie is in a movie called Couture, which is a little independent movie. But what was so amazing is, she is a survivor of breast cancer. And in the movie, she exposes her reconstructed breast, and that's very, very brave. And afterwards, in the Q&A, she actually broke down in tears, talking about what had happened to her and encouraging other women who are cancer survivors to go out and live, which is, so optimistic.
Yeah. Another highlight to look forward to is The Kiss of the Spider Woman, starring Jennifer Lopez. And you actually managed to have a chat with Ms. Lopez.
So a couple of days ago, I was very lucky to do an interview with her, and then we spoke over lunch. So many people discount her, but she does incredible work. She sings, she dances in platform heels. She portrays multiple characters, and she's such a hard worker. She's just gone through this thing with Ben Affleck and another heartbreak in public. And yet she turns up, she works hard, and she's charming. And I think if you like her, you're going to fall in love with her performance in Kiss of a Spider Woman.
Yeah. She is a superstar, and someone else that is a massive superstar that we know in one direction in terms of the films that he's been doing up until this point is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, he's taken on a role in a film called The Smashing Machine, which is just, his transformation is incredible, and there's already Oscar buzz around the work that he's done on that movie.
So it's so interesting. I spoke to him, I think it was 3 nights ago, and he explained that he never thought that anybody would take him seriously enough to perform in this movie. He brought it to the director in 2019. And then Emily Blunt, who he had acted with in another movie, had worked with the director, and they started discussing having him star in this movie. So he didn't even come up with the idea because he didn't believe he could do it. He's got hair in this movie. So when you look at him, he's got a full head of hair instead of being bald like he usually is. And it's a dramatic role.
Yeah.
It deals with drug abuse, and he's very physical in it. He's lost weight. He cries in the movie. So a lot of people are interested to see if he's going to make the top 5 come Oscar time.
The Lost School Bus, starring Matthew McConaughey and his son, is something that you featured on your Instagram reels. Are we surprised that little McConaughey is also a good actor?
So apparently, when his dad told him he was going to do the movie, his son, Levi, asked to be in it. And Matthew just ignored the question. And his son had to come back twice and say, "Dad, what must I do to audition for the part?" And then finally, Matthew helped him with the audition. And of course, he got the role. But the interesting story here is that Jamie Lee Curtis is a producer on the movie. And her mum was in Psycho, you know, the classic horror movie. Anyway, her mother, landed up dating the grandfather of the school bus driver that the movie is based on. So, small circle.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Another thing that is so amazing to me is that you were chatting to Kirsten Dunst and Channing Tatum, and you were only separated by a pane of glass. How much self-control did it take not to ask him to do a Magic Mike dance?
So, okay, I was a little naughty. If you're at a party with talent, like big A-list stars, you don't take pictures of them because, you know, you're in private time. So I quickly took a picture of them coming into the party that I was already in. And so we all got to talk at the party. You know, he again is playing a real life character. The man he portrays actually escaped from jail and lived in a supermarket, and nobody knew he was there. He's back in jail, and he had to talk to, Channing had to talk to the prisoner by phone, because he couldn't get access to him in person because the guy is a criminal. So it was very interesting to hear his approach and, you know, all these stars playing true life characters. There's a real thread going through the new award season.
Margaret, I want to move over now to a little bit about you. You recently celebrated a big birthday, and there is some big news as well that you want to share. Please tell us, and happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Yes, I turned 66. I'm so glad to be alive. I am a cancer survivor. And, you know, recently I released a book and I judged the Miss Universe pageant. And when that happened, I was bullied on social media. And one of the things that struck me is that, you know, women in South Africa are so strong. They're got big hearts. They're capable. So I was really shocked to see this negative strain coming through. And because I'd just written and researched a psychological profile of self-damage and people are acting out when they're hurting, it occurred to me that the bullies on social media are possibly going through something negative in their own lives and are bullying other women. And it really made me so sad. I want to do something about it. So I thought, why not create like a best friend thing where women support other women. I'm going to have a monthly newsletter where I talk about fashion, beauty, little tips that I do, health, but also mental health, and reminding women how special they are, that they have to create boundaries for themselves. You know, I just interviewed Tracy Ullman today. She's in a new movie, not yet out, on Netflix, called Steve. Yeah. And they asked her, it's a very traumatic movie, they asked her how she handles the trauma of being on set. And she said somebody taught her a long time ago that at the end of the evening, she has to ask herself, did she make time to nurture herself? And that's something women forget to do. You know, we're mothers, we're wives, we are best friends. We're always giving of ourselves. And sometimes we get damaged in the process. Yeah. And just taking time out to say, you know, I did an amazing job today. I faced
Margaret,
all kinds of
we are so looking
hurdles,
forward to your newsletter, and we can't wait to share all of the details on our social media pages. This is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak to Margaret Gardiner, and I know it's not going to be her last time on the show. Margaret Gardiner, our very own Hollywood insider. Stay tuned, because right after this, Rona Erasmus from the Housewives of Pretoria will be spilling a few beauty secrets. So stay just where you are.